Okay, so we've got quite a bit to cover today, it seems like. We've been looking at these articles and notes that you sent over, and there's some really interesting movements happening in finance and tech. And, the goal here is to really try to understand, like, what are the big shifts happening right now, and, what could they mean going forward?
Absolutely. And I think the selections, you know, you've highlighted some really pivotal areas. Where we talk about Bitcoin's price,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on with that. And then, kind of zoom out a little bit and look at how institutions are, thinking about crypto these days. And then something that could be, really a game changer. We'll talk about stablecoin payments.
Yeah.
And then also what's going on with Microsoft, their stock. It's
Hmm.
been, the subject of a lot of chatter recently. So we'll dive into that
Yeah,
too.
for sure, for sure. Okay, so I guess let's just jump right into it. With Bitcoin, like what really stood out to you when you were looking at all this material? Like, what were some of the big things?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing that jumps out is just that recent price jump, right?
Right.
I mean, it's hard to ignore that. And the sources, you point to these comments from President Trump and Fed Chair Powell,
Hmm.
both kind of downplaying tariff concerns. And, it's interesting how something like that can have such a ripple effect even into the crypto market.
Yeah, yeah. It's like almost like the psychological thing,
Right.
right?
But
Like, if people are feeling a little bit more confident about the overall economy, then they're willing to maybe take a little bit more risk.
Right, and we see that reflected in the data too, right? With the rebound in crypto ETF inflows.
Yeah, yeah.
That feels significant to me. It's like a vote of confidence.
For sure, for sure. And it's interesting too, because we've been talking about institutional adoption of Bitcoin for a while now, right?
right.
And it seems like, every week there's another story about some big player
Yeah.
making a move. And this week it's Metaplanet, right? This Japanese investment firm.
Yeah.
Huge Japanese investment firm.
Yeah, I mean, they just bought another 150 Bitcoin.
They did, which brings their total to like 3,350 Bitcoin, right?
That's a lot of Bitcoin.
It's a lot of Bitcoin. It's a serious commitment, and I think it really underscores, this growing belief in Bitcoin as a legitimate, treasury asset.
Right.
It's not just about speculation anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
These companies are considering it as a way to, preserve value, potentially enhance returns in the long term.
it's like a hedge against inflation.
Exactly.
Exactly. All that good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So it's not just a flash in the pan.
No, it feels like a more fundamental shift.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so speaking of shifts, one of the other things that I thought was really interesting was these discussions that are happening between Sam Altman's World Network and Visa.
Oh, yeah. Fascinating, right?
Mhm.
I mean, what's really exciting about this potential collaboration
Mm.
is the focus on stablecoins and payments, right?
Right.
Making stablecoins usable for everyday payments. So think about this, right? For you, someone navigating the complexities of modern finance,
Okay.
the idea of seamlessly integrating stablecoins into a widely accepted payment network like Visa.
Like using it at the grocery store.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That could be transformative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quicker, potentially cheaper, cross-border transactions, for example.
Right. Right. And I think it's worth pausing here for a second just to for anyone who might be newer to this whole space, like a stablecoin is basically a type of cryptocurrency
Right.
that's designed to maintain a stable value. So it's often pegged to a traditional currency like the US dollar.
Right. Pegged to the US dollar, the euro, something like that.
Exactly. So the idea is that it's not going to fluctuate wildly like Bitcoin or some of these other cryptocurrencies.
Like, it takes the volatility out of the equation.
Exactly. And so if you can integrate that with Visa's infrastructure,
Yeah.
I mean, that could be huge, right? Because it's like bridging the gap between
Right.
the old financial world and this new crypto world.
Exactly. And it could onboard, potentially millions of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Into this new ecosystem.
For sure. Okay, so I guess kind of switching gears a little bit, we also wanted to talk about Microsoft.
Yeah.
Their stock has been in the news a bit lately.
It has. It's seen a bit of a dip this year, right?
Yeah.
About 8% decline year to date.
Right, but even with that dip, like one of the analysts that we were looking at, Dan Ives from Wedbush, he's still super bullish on Microsoft.
He is.
He's got them at an outperform rating and a price target of $550.
Ambitious.
Yeah, yeah. So what's driving that continued optimism? Like, why is he so bullish on Microsoft?
Well, he points to a couple of key factors, right? The first being the robust growth of Microsoft's Azure cloud computing platform. That's been a huge driver for them.
Right.
And they're also making significant advancements in artificial intelligence. And he sees these as powerful engines that will drive future growth
Yeah, yeah.
and ultimately lead to the stock's appreciation.
So it's interesting because it's like, even these established tech giants
Right.
are constantly evolving.
They have to. They have to, right? They're constantly investing in these future technologies.
It's adapt or die in the tech world.
Exactly. Okay, so let's kind of like bring this all together. Like what have we learned today?
Well, I think we've seen how global events and policy talk,
Yeah.
these things can influence even the crypto markets.
Right.
We've seen how major players are increasingly adopting Bitcoin as part of their financial strategy.
Yeah.
We've talked about the potential for, your everyday transactions to be revolutionized by stablecoin integrations.
Right.
And we've also seen how, even a temporary dip in a tech stock needs to be considered within the context of those long-term growth drivers.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I think what's so fascinating to me is like seeing all these seemingly distinct areas like global finance, cutting edge technology, institutional investment strategies, like they're all interacting and influencing each other.
Absolutely. It's all connected.
Yeah, it's all connected. So as you think about all of this, like here's something I want you to consider. How might the increasing convergence of traditional financial systems and this like burgeoning cryptocurrency infrastructure, like how might that ultimately change how you manage your money, make payments, approach your investments in the years to come? It's not just about the headlines today.
Right.
It's about these fundamental shifts that are taking place beneath the surface.
Absolutely. Those are the things to pay attention to.
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today. This has been a really interesting conversation.
Yeah, this is great.
All right. We'll see you next time.
See you later.